From Jane Campion dissing tennis royalty to Will Smith's lack of an apology, there are controversial celebrity acceptance speeches. Contrary to popular belief, celebrity award speeches aren't always worthy of applause. Case in point, Jane Campion's acceptance speech after winning the 2022 Critics' Choice Award for Best Director. When someone wins an award of such magnitude, you'd think they'd prepare an acceptable, if not great, speech beforehand. But nope, not Jane Campion. She looked at the audience and decided to call out Venus and Serena Williams, two of the greatest tennis players in the world. Campion told the Williams sisters that they're such marvels, but that they don't play against the guys like she has to. Say what? Campion's comment received loud cheers in the room, but at the same time, you could tell by Venus's incredibly awkward facial expression that there was certainly an uncomfortable feeling in the air. Honestly, the whole thing was downright cringy. The clip of Campion's speech went viral, was seen everywhere on social media, and many felt that Campion should have avoided calling out the Williams sisters. It felt unnecessary, and it was clear that Jane had no reason to do that at all. People magazine called out the famed director for her remarks, claiming it came across as super arrogant and totally uncalled for. If you ask me, Campion should have thanked her people, accepted the award, and called it a night. Others critical of Campion's acceptance speech called her comments tone-deaf, but I'll let you be the judge of that. After receiving some fierce backlash on the internet, Campion later apologized and admitted she made a thoughtless comment. No argument there. But Jane Campion's far from the only celebrity to make stupid comments during an acceptance speech. Making bizarre comments on a massive platform is something Matthew McConaughey is all too familiar with as well. The actor's journey from rom-com expert to Hollywood megastar, also known as the McConaissance, reached its peak in 2014. When the Serenity actor collected an Oscar for Best Actor for his amazing work in director Jean-Marc Vallée's acclaimed film Dallas Buyers Club. It was all fun and games until McConaughey, opened his mouth. He began by thanking God, talked about his hero, someone he needed to chase. But as it turns out, the hero he was referring to was himself, but in 10 years' time. Even his signature, all right, wasn't enough to make the audience unhear what they just heard, or lower the many eyebrows that had been raised. A truly baffling moment. Now, McConaughey may have rubbed off on another fellow actor because 1 year earlier, in 2013, at the SAG Awards, Jared Leto won Best Supporting Actor for his role in Dallas Buyers Club. And like McConaughey, Leto excluded everyone in his acceptance speech and made it all about himself. During the speech, Leto sparked a lot of backlash due to his blissfully unaware comments. Leto played the character Rayon, a trans woman living with HIV and addicted to drugs, but in his speech he proudly mentioned that he didn't use any prosthetics for the film, and that the tiny little Brazilian bubble butt we saw was all his. Okay then. Maybe that's a little too much info, Jared. Awkward. Leto went on to say that he did a lot of prep for the role and called the whole thing a transformative experience, but not in the sense that you might think. Leto was referring to the experience of having to wax his entire body, including his eyebrows, and said he was thankful that he didn't have to do a full Brazilian. Weird. Just so weird. Television critic Daniel D'Addario said it best. He claimed that for Jared to outline his struggle in the acceptance speech was nothing short of a bizarre punchline, especially for a person whose entire role revolved around body discomfort and all the painful things one must do just to feel okay in their skin. In the end, Leto got at least one award and a whole lot of money for the film, but despite that, it was strange to see him make his acceptance speech all about himself. Maybe actors just think differently than the rest of us. Speaking of actors who think differently, I wouldn't be good at my job if I didn't put James Franco on this list. Franco may have taken home the award for Best Actor in a Musical or Comedy at the 2018 Golden Globes, but his hilariously controversial acceptance speech had everyone in the room laughing out loud. It wasn't so much the words he used in the speech, but rather what he did. The Hollywood star was on stage to accept his award for playing Tommy Wiseau in The Disaster Artist. Now, most stars would have typically taken to the stage solo. After all, the award is for one person, but Franco chose to bring the real Tommy Wiseau and his co-star and brother Dave Franco onto the stage as well. It took a while, but Wiseau finally made it on stage, although when the cult icon tried to grab the mic, James pushed him away from the podium and didn't even let the poor guy speak. I mean, the film's entirely about Tommy and his life, so James could have let the man speak. I guess he wanted to give him some credit, but not too much credit. At least we got a moment that will live on in GIF history for the rest of time. Actors really know how to immortalize a moment in time, don't they? Speaking of which, after building a highly respected career as a character actor, Melissa Leo finally got her mainstream recognition when she won Best Supporting Actress at the age of 50. Leo had personally funded Hollywood trade ads for her Oscar campaign, and while those worked out great for her, unfortunately, her acceptance speech didn't follow suit. The whole thing started off with this weird flirtation with the late Kirk Douglas, who was 94 years old at the time. The incident only got worse when Leo dropped the F-bomb. Sure, it was an accident, but we're talking about the Oscars here. A who's who of A-listers were present, and not to mention there were millions more watching at home. Yikes. The cherry on top was Leo leaving the stage hunched over using Kirk's cane. And since we're on the topic of actors and their controversial moments, remember the time Tom Hiddleston won Best Actor in a Limited Series at the Golden Globes in 2017? During Tom's acceptance speech, it felt like he was about to tell an emotional story about Doctors Without Borders in South Sudan. But instead, he kept circling around, took the longer route, and came back to talking about how the doctors in South Sudan would binge the show at the end of the day. It was definitely another "say what" kind of moment. The whole speech was just bizarre. Maybe it was Loki talking, and not Tom. The whole thing rubbed the internet the wrong way, and trolls started typing furiously. Many were quick to point out that Hiddleston's self-absorbed speech lasted longer than his relationship with Taylor Swift. Shots fired. The good thing is he learned from his mistakes and later apologized for his incredibly long rant. Do you know who wasn't man enough to apologize, though? Will Smith. At the 94th Academy Awards, the Bad Boys star slapped the hell out of Chris Rock for making a joke about his wife, Jada Pinkett Smith, in what's become one of the unforgettable and divisive moments in Oscars history. And the aftermath of the incident is just as controversial as the incident itself, with many criticizing the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences for not immediately kicking the legendary actor out of the event. Instead, the show went on, and to make matters worse, 40 minutes after the slap heard around the world, Smith went on to win the Oscar for Best Actor for King Richard. I'm pretty sure there were several facepalms in the audience that night. Smith delivered an emotionally charged speech, apologized to the Academy, his fellow nominees. But the apology that everyone was waiting for, the one to Chris Rock, never came. I'm sure we'll be talking about this one for years to come. So there you have it. From Jane Campion dissing tennis royalty to Will Smith's lack of an apology, those were controversial celebrity acceptance speeches.